Hello, my friends, and welcome to yet another episode of Daily Dose of Stupid. We've got stupids from really kind of all over the place, so don't think too much of it. It's mostly just a normal episode of this, which is honestly good. And I feel like it's been a while since we've done one of these where it's just random and all over the place and less focused on one or two specific things. That said, the first stupid on today's docket is, well, it's really kind of sad and frustrating at the same time. The first stupid comes from YBA's Discord server, where some guy named Illuminati put a comment in the general chat saying, "Can you put the Starfinger sound in the game so that Eclipse will be appeased?" And a developer for the game responded to them with an @to-me. For those who don't know, my Roblox name is Lee148, so that's what shows up when you @me in the Roblox YBA Discord server. And it says, "Reply to this message and I will do it," which has all sorts of problems. First of all, this implies that if I don't directly give you attention, that you won't create a quality of life feature. And now I understand that in the most recent update, they did add the sound effect anyway. So I know people are gonna jump on my back and they're gonna be like, "Eclipse, they did it anyway, so you can't complain." But no, I absolutely can. Because, to put it point blank, this is just flat out unprofessional behavior from a developer. And I feel like it should have been very simple to say that you really should not do this. So, to Edwin on the developer team, hi, I see you, you got your attention, stop being an idiot and just do your job. The next stupid comes from my video that I did a little while back on JoJo Tycoon, the first one, not the second one. Well, I guess it's technically like the fourth one. Jesus, I've played that game too many times for what it is. Anyways, in that video, I made a whole lot of jokes about the in-game rules system that they had, talking about the fact that if you killed people, spawn killed people, whatever, that it was against the rules and there were no listed specific punishments. You just weren't supposed to do that, which I'll be talking about momentarily, but regardless, the comment reads, "The punishments for the rules are on the Discord. That rule in specific was created for the old tycoons from when they only had a laser door instead of a full shield. We still punish people if they abuse AoE moves to target someone in specific multiple times." So obviously, this was made by a JoJo Tycoon admin. Whoever you are, God, are you stupid? You gotta be kidding me. Okay, so I'm gonna let you in on a little secret here. First of all, the expectation that someone should have to join your Discord in order to understand what the punishments for the rules in the game that are listed in the game are is frankly the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Please say that back to yourself and think to yourself, does this make any sense? Because spoiler alert, it does not. Second of all, trying to justify the rule that you have based on the fact that in the game's previous state, it was easier to abuse the game, therefore we punished people for spawn killing and whatnot, is stupid and doesn't make any sense because, as you just said, that's not the case anymore. So if that's not the case anymore, this context is completely irrelevant and doesn't matter. Now that said, the final thing in here is the most telling and most ridiculous. And that's that they say that they still punish people if they abuse AoE moves to target someone in specific, I assume, bases multiple times, which is ridiculous. And I think anyone with half a brain would know this is ridiculous because it's not the player's fault that they're using mechanics in your game that you failed to program well enough to stop people from doing that. You cannot, I repeat, cannot punish people for using legitimate methods in the game to attack people. If you didn't want them to attack people in their base, then you would do a better job stopping that from happening. It's not rocket science. You could, for example, make players invulnerable when they're in their base and the shield is on, and then it wouldn't matter if you had an AoE move shooting at their base. But no, instead, your Band-Aid solution is to punish people with a still unknown punishment, because I'm not in their Discord, so it could be anything. It could be anything from killing you over and over again to a permanent ban. Who knows? I don't. But like, just come on with this. I thought it was so glaringly obvious by me just poking fun at it how stupid it was, but apparently I have to spell it out because even the people over there are too clueless to understand. There's like a line when it comes to in-game rules for a lot of these Roblox games that I think people often don't quite grasp. There's things that are within the game but should obviously be against the rules, something like glitch abusing and just like borderline cheating. And then there's things like this, where it's like, that's a mechanic in the game, it's working as intended, and in your own words, there's not even a specific to this rule. You just said, if they abuse AoE moves to target someone specifically multiple times, which means if they just do it once, it's fine. Well, where's the line there? Is 2 too many times? 4? 8? Are you starting to see how dumb this is? Put simply, this rule should not exist. It's dumb. End of story. The next 3 messages I have are from my Transformers Crossfire video, a game that I still play on and off to this very day. Fun game. Unfortunately, some of the people in the comment section of that video are, they're dickheads. No other way to put it. Like this guy who says, bro talks shit on an insane amount of PvP games and then recommends this pile of dog shit, Skull Skull. Wow, you really made a great point there. Your point being, the game is dog shit because I said so. Riveting stuff. Now, I could sit here and attempt to explain to you the intricacies of what makes Transformers Crossfire an interesting game that I think is worth playing and think is fun to play, on top of the fact that I enjoyed the source material as a kid, and so obviously that just makes me biased from the get-go to an extent. But I already tried to do that in the video, and obviously you either didn't watch the video at all, or you just didn't give a shit and didn't listen to anything I said while typing out your dumbass comment. I think this guy is just mad because I probably shit on his favorite game, like, I don't know, Strongest Boring Grounds, which we'll be talking about momentarily, unfortunately. And so when I started talking good about a game that can even draw remote similarities to it based on simplicity's sake, they get all mad at me. That said, before we get to talking about stuff like that, we've got this idiot who says he's faking it. I can't even like games. I'm a fake if I like a game. Fucking just kill me. But here we go. There's this guy who says 049, which is where I said that the game was simple, but I liked it anyway, and he says kind of like Battleground games. Also, before anyone says Battleground games don't have progression, the progression is your skill! The more you play, the better you get, and it's very rewarding. I think Eclipse is just heavily biased towards FPS games, which obviously is to an extent true. I like first-person shooter games more than fighting games, but obviously is not overtly true, because there are plenty of fighting games that I've played for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours that I think are great games, or at the very least, I've enjoyed a lot. So the idea that I'm just unabashedly biased towards first-person shooters, despite this not even being a first-person shooter, it's a third-person shooter, whatever, is just like, does Smash Ultimate not count anymore? Does YBA not count anymore? Deep Woken doesn't count anymore? Like, all of these types of games just, they don't matter because I'm automatically biased to first-person shooters. What about the shooters that I didn't enjoy, like Dummies vs. Noobs? I didn't like that game, and I actually think there's a comment about it later on. Why didn't I like that? I should automatically like it, right? I'm biased. Either way, the idea that this game is on the same level of Battlegrounds games is in of itself flawed, because there are 2 pillars of Transformers Crossfire that makes it just different from Battlegrounds games by default. Number 1 is the fact that you can unlock different characters via playing the game and getting points. Now, this is something that some Battlegrounds games have and some don't, and I'm more receptive to the games that do have it for obvious reasons. It gives you a reason to play the game other than just, the progression is your skill, or whatever the hell that guy said. And listen, I'm not even going to get into the whole thing about skill in Battlegrounds games. If your definition of skill is pressing ERTYQ or whatever in the correct order, then shout outs to you. Real cool, man. I'm glad you Googled that one-shot combo. But for the rest of us, come on. It's not skill. You know it, and you're lying to yourself. Not only does it have that, but the thing is that Transformers Crossfire also, like, has a winner and a loser, you know, a thing that I constantly trashed on Battlegrounds games for, but apparently went over your head. Yeah, so Transformers Crossfire is a team deathmatch game as of right now. I know they're going to plan to add more game modes, and it will be even more than that, but as it stands, it's just a team deathmatch. But a team deathmatch actually has goals and, like, you know, stakes. If you kill more guys than the enemy team in the allotted time, you win. Which is radically different than we just put you into a cube and there are 8 guys in here, including yourself, kill each other. In the second example, which is a Battlegrounds game, there is no goal. There is no winning the game. There are no close matches. There's nothing. It's just a clusterfuck. And the idea that Battlegrounds games are somehow on the same level as Crossfire is by default ridiculous because Crossfire has a game mode you're playing. I can't even fathom how people can think this way. I really can't. The next 2 comments are from my B-game dying video, which I'm actually kind of surprised didn't do as well as I thought it would. This is a bit of an off tangent, but generally speaking, I can know when videos are going to do relatively well and when they're not, and I really thought the B-game video would pop off, especially since, you know, it was very clickbaity and it was B-game, but apparently not. Oh well. Anyways, regardless, we got some dumb comments because it was B-game. Go figure. The first is from someone who said, quote, "I haven't played the game for even an hour to fully understand it, but it's bad because it is, and again, I don't give a fuck that I haven't fully understood the game." End quote. So, first, the idea that I haven't even played the game for an hour, just wrong. Just wrong. Like, I've made 2 videos now on B-game. 2 separate videos. Do you think that I made those videos and recorded them in like 15 minutes? No, I didn't. Second of all, I don't understand the game. You don't think I understand B-game? Are you fucking serious right now? Brother, B-game might be the most easy to understand brain-dead game on the platform, which is why it has so many idiots like you playing it that have no brain cells. But apparently, since you don't think I understand, get bees, get pollen, convert pollen to honey to get better tools to get more pollen so you can get more honey. Number go up. B-game. Does that help you? Now it gets better because I know that normally I try to hide the names on a lot of these just so they don't get harassment, which technically I don't really have to do when it comes to the YouTube comments because good luck trying to harass someone in a YouTube comment section. But regardless, let's just show this guy's name really quick. Look, it's Bee Swarmer Simulator. Spelled wrong. So it's actually Bee Swarmer Simulator. Fucking goddamn it, man. And then I mentioned Dummy versus Noobs earlier, and this comment isn't from Dummies versus Noobs. It's from the B-game video. This the game this MF plays. CNAT use brains to play DVN and says, God, this game sucks. Huh, this guy running away from the red circle maybe. I should just stand in this red circle. Oh, look, I died, dog. So this in of itself is already just like a word salad of a comment. I barely understand even what they're trying to say here, but regardless, how rent-free do I have to live in your head about that stupid shitty Dummies versus Noobs game that you're leaving comments on a video that has nothing to do with it? And not only that, but remember how I mentioned that this video didn't do particularly well? So I assumed this guy had to search this video out so that way he could leave this comment talking about how mad he is about a game that I played like ages ago now. And yeah, just for reference, Dummies versus Noobs, still dog shit. Now, the final few Daily Dose of Stupid comments come from what I expected to be more of a gold mine than it was, which was Decaying Winter, which I suppose I can give myself a little bit of credit for because as I attempted to do in that video, it was much less of an over-exaggerated yelling fest, unlike this video, where I tried to be a lot more down to earth and talk about how I really felt about things from my own perspective and without any sort of the overblown exaggerations and whatnot that I usually do in a lot of my other videos to try to make them entertaining. And I assume because of that attempt to be good-natured and the olive branch that I tried to extend to the people that I was talking to, that worked out pretty well. And I will say that the vast majority of the comments on that video are positive, even from people that liked the game, understanding the issues that I had with it. So I want to be 100% clear that the people that I'm about to talk about do not represent the people that played Decaying Winter. Clearly not. That said, you're always going to have a few bad apples, and there were plenty of bad apples in the comments section anyway. From the really simple idiots like this guy who says, "Soy boy doesn't like games with difficulty and no hand-holding," who conveniently ignored the fact that I have 3,000 hours in Tarkov, something I said in the video. You'd think that maybe that would go over with them and maybe they would think that, but I guess not. Surprise, surprise, you're allowed to be critical of things that you enjoy. I know, some people don't get that. Or perhaps we've got people like this guy who says you're supposed to learn by teaching, not just by yourself, which is already wrong. I assume they meant learning. The game becomes easier as you learn more. I said that in the video, like several times. And then the worst take on here, newer players will always be a handicap in any team game, which is the saddest sentence I've ever seen uttered in my life. Brother, if newer players are always going to be a handicap on you when you play a video game, I'm so sorry for your state of playing games. Generally speaking, in good games, these games try to offset new players' inadequacies in several areas by offering either other ways to play, like easier game modes and places for them to learn, or, just like telling them anything, unlike Decaying Winter, which doesn't tell them shit. Or alternatively, every other game under the sun doesn't automatically debuff you by making it so when a new player inevitably is struggling and getting killed, it doesn't screw over every single other player on the team. Like, how tone deaf do you have to be to understand that the developers expanded this problem instead of trying to alleviate it, and you think that that's just like in any other game? It's not even close, dude! If I boot up Call of Duty Zombies tomorrow, right, and I decide that I want to play Call of Duty Zombies with 4 random other players, it is automatically going to be easier playing with 4 other people than it is going to be just playing by myself. Because if I slip up at all and then someone comes to help me, then I'm still going to be alive. And if some of those other people screw up and they get killed and they're in somewhere where I just can't save them and they die, I don't get actively screwed over because they got killed. Now, in Decaying Winter, if we reverse this and I'm playing with a new player versus playing by myself, if I play by myself, I get all of the resources, so I don't have to worry about any of the other resources for my teammates. And I never have to worry about my teammates dying, because if my teammates die, unlike in Call of Duty Zombies, where not the end of the world, move on with my life, I take more damage. I get actively debuffed. The game becomes actively harder. The point is, if I played COD Zombies, a co-op game, a team game, with 3 other randoms who sucked at the game, my experience would not be actively worse than if I played with 3 other experienced players. It wouldn't actively be hindered by those people. We could all still have fun and play the game. The opposite is true for Decaying Winter, where if I play with 3 other people who don't know what they're doing, my experience becomes worse because I'm playing with them. What the fuck? And to my credit, you really should have figured this out since you're in the comments section by reading the comments themselves. Comments by people like Duck who say, I honestly just don't like the game. Getting roasted, raged on just because I don't have any knowledge in the game isn't how a game should be. There are other people like this all over the comment section that are talking about how miserable an experience it is when they were playing when they were new, getting roasted and ragged on by random people because their experience was being made worse just by them existing, which is awful. But unfortunately, things might not ever get better because of idiots like the guy who responded to him saying, bro, you have to learn to play the game just like Minecraft and Terraria. Do you really think there's any game where you don't have to learn a lot to be able to experience all that it has to offer uniquely? Sounds like a boring game if there's not much to learn, just like reality. Reality, Mr. Terminally Online, are you fucking kidding? You didn't even listen to what this person said. They're upset that they got ragged on for not knowing what they're doing. They didn't say anything about the unique experience that they were missing out on. They said they were upset because people were being assholes to them in game. And the person responded very reasonably, saying as if Decaying Winter players didn't flame every beginner who just joined for giving you guys morale. To be honest, Decaying Winter is the second most toxic community I've ever met. And then the response to this, simply baffling. Still, the captions and descriptions still proved right. The weak die and give up. To be better, you have to keep trying and learn through difficulty, such as life. This guy is almost certainly not an adult. Such as life is fucking crazy. This clearly isn't the game for you if you proved its point from the very beginning. It spelled it out to you. Either way, it's barely close to the most toxic game. I don't know about that based on the comments. Least it's honest. Sounds like you had an experience with bad players too, like all games. Well, hope you try again someday and prove everything wrong, because regardless, being a hindrance is always a problem everywhere. Here we go with that again. Get stronger. I want to vomit after reading that. Bro, you're not strong enough to play this game. This guy like exemplifies everything wrong with these types of games. It's like the perfect case study of everything wrong with the people who gatekeep and play these games. You're weak-willed and not strong enough to play my video game. Fuck off, dude. You absolute child. And the response to this is rich. And I agree. Bro, you play games to stress yourself as if life itself isn't enough. Yeah, games are supposed to be fun, but this guy not having fun means that they're too weak. Get the fuck out of here. And the final comment today, because I couldn't help myself, was someone saying, the wiki is a resource. Yeah, of course it is. That's why they didn't put it in the damn game, right? If it was a resource, I'd be able to access it through the main menu. Can I do that? No. And then, of course, the comment that I saw a ton of, as if people thought I was, like, absolutely clueless, and also were not paying any attention, which is, also, you played during Cultist Takeover, one of the events. I can tell you for a fact that was essentially hardcore mode. Yeah, I didn't mention the Cultist Takeover thing in the video because I didn't think it was relevant. I played the Cultist mode for, like, maybe 2 games, since I recorded Decaying Winter over the course of like a couple days. So the first set of clips that I had were all from pre-event, and then the second set were all after the event was active. Now that said, I don't really think that you should be gassing up their hardcore event, because as plenty of people have said in the comments section of the video, which I wholeheartedly agree with, the fact that they didn't make this little hardcore event a toggleable thing is the dumbest thing on the planet, and works even further against the game. I could tell you from my perspective that I had a hell of a lot less fun playing during the shitty cultist mode because it was a quote-unquote hardcore experience while I was just trying to learn how to fucking play. Yeah, you picked the wrong time to play, dude. That's not an excuse. I should have had a choice that I didn't get. Either way, like I said, that was the last of the stupids. I was going to put a couple more on here, but I figured that would suffice for the time limit that I generally try to hit, and looking at my recording, I'm over that, so go figure. Anyways, I wanted to do something a little bit different when it comes to the end of these videos, which is, generally speaking, I like to have the stupids, and I go and I find them myself. But this time around for the next Daily Dose of Stupid, if you're still here all the way at the end of the video, I kind of want to do a community-oriented version of Daily Dose of Stupid, where you've either interacted with people that you think said some really dumb shit, or you just see things in the comments when you're going through. So if you decide to participate, you don't have to if you don't want to, and if I don't get enough comments, that's fine. I'll go out and do it myself like I usually do. But for the next episode, if you want to DM me your stupids whenever you see them, I'll be putting them together, and probably within the next week or two, I'll have a video out on that. Anyways, with that, I am wrapping up here. So if you enjoyed the video, you can leave a like and subscribe. If you didn't, don't. And with all that being said, have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you guys next time.